We've got Outriders, Doomslayers, and Bears. Oh my. What up, viewers? What up? What up? Calc Soups here, and today is Friday, March 12th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. One of the big things happening this week was a Xbox and Bethesda Roundtable. So I believe the official closing of the books, everything signed, handshakes, and all that kind of stuff has happened with the Xbox Bethesda deal. It's gone through, and now they kind of got together a bunch of the big heads that you know of: Phil Spencer, Pete Hines, Todd Howard, all got in a room and started talking about what's going to be happening next. And most of the big news was just all the games that are coming to Game Pass. They didn't talk specifically about any games that were coming exclusively to the Xbox, but it was definitely a topic of conversation and something that came up. So it's potentially something we could see for future titles. You know, we don't know if Starfield or Elder Scrolls 6 are going to be exclusive to the Xbox. I think it's kind of weird to kind of buy a big studio and not have some of their products, especially some of the stuff that's coming out, be exclusive. I think that's why Microsoft bought the studio and invested $8 billion into the studio is to kind of get all that and to kind of help push Game Pass. And that was, I think, that was the big kind of keynote from it all, is just all the games that are coming to Game Pass. And I think when they talked about exclusivity, they actually did say something about, you know, all Bethesda games will be everywhere that Game Pass is, which just means that they're going to have PC and Xbox integration up and running and going, which is good because Bethesda is a very strong kind of PC forward group studio. So I think they've always had a really strong PC player base, and Microsoft and Xbox definitely have a good PC console synergy. So I think that'll go well. And yeah, I'm hopeful. I'm wearing my Xbox shill shirt because I now, rather than just being a Bethesda fanboy, I can just say I'm a Microsoft fanboy, and that'll include all Bethesda games from here on out. So I'm looking forward to it. You know, hopefully they can get some backing, and maybe we can get Fallout 5 to make up for some of the Fallout 76 stuff. They actually talked about some of the tragedies around Fallout 76, which I am still a diehard defender of. But yeah, I'll have a link down in the description. You can watch the whole kind of hour and 20-minute video where they talk through all this. So I thought it was pretty good, and I'm kind of, you know, they also talked about the history of Bethesda and where they've been and where they're going. So I'm excited for it all. Two companies that I really love combining can only mean good things for fanboys like me. So looking forward to seeing what else comes from that. Like I said in the cold open, we got an Outriders lore video, which, you know, I didn't think there would be too much lore associated with the game, and they kind of hand wave it off. But they did, you know, kind of give you somewhat of a justification of, you know, who these characters are and why they have the powers they do. Apparently they are from an Earth-like planet, and they're brought to this new planet, which is supposed to kill people, chew people up, and spit them out. And they got all their elemental powers. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good introduction. I think it gives us a little bit more than kind of Destiny gave us at the start. I didn't hear anybody say I don't have time to explain why I don't have time to explain, which is, you know, gives me kind of hope for the for the narrative of Outriders. I also read kind of a think piece on Outriders and how it's not just a Destiny clone, and that'll have more of a focus on story and the RPG elements, which kind of got me thinking about how kind of shallow the RPG progression system in Destiny was kind of all along. But yeah, I think, you know, Outriders, and apparently Outriders is supposed to have more of a story where it has like a start and a stop, unlike Destiny where you're supposed to, you know, constantly grinding out. And I think this would be less focused on like a live service and more kind of on the story. So that just gives me more hope to play through a kind of succinct story with friends, which is why I'm still looking forward to Outriders. So I'll have a link to both of those down below. Outer Worlds gets its next DLC next week, and we got a video explaining kind of what it's going to be all about. It's called Murder on Eridanos, and it is a murder mystery, which kind of goes with the Outer Wilds kind of space noir feel that they've been going for, the Outer Worlds that they've been going for. So, you know, I haven't personally picked up any of the DLC yet. I'm kind of waiting for all of them for them to say, like, you know, this is the Ultimate Edition, and I think that'll, or a season pass, maybe that's what I'll get, since I played Outer Worlds on Game Pass. Speaking of Game Pass, yeah, I played it on Game Pass, so I'll probably wait till all the DLCs are out before I start picking them up or buying them one by one, so I can just kind of get them all bundled together, and then I can play through them all in kind of one sitting. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to more Outer Worlds. I think it's a great game. I love what Obsidian's doing. I call it Space Fallout in my email, so and that's obviously two things that that I enjoy. So, looking forward to seeing more on that. The company behind Roblox, I think they've been talking about this for a while, but it's officially gone public. It's available for public trading on the market as opposed to being a private company previously. And it instantly jumped up, getting a market cap of $38 billion, which is actually right above EA at 37. And the article I read talked about how, you know, Ubisoft is at somewhere in the low 30s and Take-Two is somewhere around there. So yeah, just a single company that makes a single game just jumps up to this really big market cap. You know, I didn't know about Roblox until a year ago, maybe, when I started having to do some research into some of these kind of live service games. And yeah, Roblox is just, well, I have no concept for what it is, but I know that it's popular, and that's about all I know. And now we can see, you know, how popular it is, and you know how much it's worth, kind of on a public trading market. So I'm wondering how many GameStonk buyers are gonna maybe invest in Roblox, and you know, see how the money trickles in for that. But yeah, interesting stuff happening this week with single game making a whole lot of money. So interesting to see that. Saw some speculation this week that, you know, I think in the last couple of weeks we've been talking about Avengers and some big changes they've been making in Marvel's Avengers game that released towards the end of last year. And with the kind of grinding, kind of taking longer, some people are kind of starting to speculate that the game's going free to play, which I think would be an interesting move. The article that I read was kind of more negative on it, saying that that's not going to save the game, and I definitely agree that it wouldn't. If they could churn out characters fast enough, maybe they can monetize that to make up for, and with a large player base, they can monetize a portion of them and get some more revenue that way, as opposed to waiting for someone to pay $60 to play the game. Yeah, I think it could be an interesting move. I'm still kind of critical on. I think there hasn't been a character release, or like there's been 2 Hawkeye based character or bow based characters, and we haven't seen, you know, Spider-Man yet, which was supposed to come to the game. So it's just been, I think it would be an interesting move, but I don't know that it's going to kind of rake in the cash that they were kind of expecting for, you know, the Marvel Avengers game. So I thought it was a good speculation, and I think it made a lot of sense, but I don't know that it will make all of the money. So yeah, be kind of interesting to see how that. Animal Crossing New Horizons characters are joining the ranks of Pokemon characters in that they are being made into BuildABear. BuildABear Workshop announced this week that you'll be able to make an Animal Crossing New Horizons characters at BuildABear Workshop. So I'm starting to save up my bells now. I definitely think that Animal Crossing, especially with how big it was last year, is definitely, you know, big enough to kind of attract this kind of partnership, and should be pretty interesting. I think a lot of people would, a lot of kids would especially enjoy, you know, snuggling up with a small Isabelle or Tom Nook, you know, Build-A-Bear stuffed animal. So definitely, I think a pretty good partnership. I think it is, you know, up there in the ranks of like a Pokemon, in that, you know, people might or might not carry just as much weight with Animal Crossing characters now that how big the game is, and how many people played it. So I think this is a great partnership, and I might Am I going to buy a Animal Crossing Build-A-Bear? I don't know. I'll keep you posted on that, but definitely something to think about. Astro's Playroom, the soundtrack to the game, the PS5 exclusive that comes on the console, has the soundtrack is now available everywhere. You can buy the soundtrack, and I've been listening to "I'm Your GPU" all day, which was my favorite song from the game. I really enjoyed listening to that, and I think at one point in the game it had the lyrics written on the wall, and I just like banging along to it, and it to me it struck me as like I had to look up whether or not it was an Eiffel 65 song. So if anybody else felt the same way, please leave a comment down below. But yeah, I think Astro had some really good, really identifiable songs, and good to see them being sold everywhere. Just gotta download the rest of them after I'm done listening to "I'm Your GPU." A side-scrolling TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game is coming out, which is interesting to say considering the last time anybody talked about that was probably in the 90s when the arcade cabinet was getting big. But nope, this is a traditional console traditional console title. I'm hoping that comes out on the Switch, but the 90-second trailer that I saw just kind of talked about the gameplay and showed a little bit of the kind of classic, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle beat 'em up side-scrolling game, and I think people are nostalgic like that, and they're gonna want something like that. So I think it'll be a very good game, and I definitely think it deserves like a Switch port. I think that's gonna be probably its biggest platform, although I could see people playing it on their PlayStation as well. But I definitely could see, especially with local co-op on your Switch, I could definitely see that selling a boatload of units. So hopefully it's not a digital only. I don't think they said anything about how it's going to be sold, but I could definitely see a physical version, maybe with some of the stickers or anything like that, to kind of upsell people. So I am definitely, I think Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles side scroller and the Simpsons side-scrolling arcade cabinet were probably the ones that ate most of my quarters until I started getting into the shooters like Time Crisis. But yeah, let me know what you think of a new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles side-scroller beat 'em up. Doom Eternal is announcing its next DLC. It's the second part of the Ancient Gods like 2-pack that they've been working on. This one had images for the quote-unquote Dark Lord, which kind of looks like Nega Doom Guy, like a evil Doom Guy. He's got like a big red Doom Guy suit with like horns. I hope it's not as hard. It's probably going to be just as hard to beat as any Marauder was in that game, which were very difficult. And yeah, I'm just really curious. I think that was the main portion of the article, was just what's going on with this Dark Lord. As far as my Doom lore is concerned, I don't think we've ever encountered a like Dark Lord enemy in any of the Doom games. Someone with a little bit more knowledge might have to correct me down below. But yeah, it was just really interesting image of like Doom Guy with like a laser hammer fighting this like red big Nega Demon, Marauder type Doom Guy, which I thought was interesting. So looking forward to seeing more on what's going on with Doom Eternal and its next DLC. Last but certainly not least, as someone who recently hopped on the We Were Here bandwagon, I was excited to hear that a sequel to We Were Here, oh god, what was the last one? It's We Were Here 2, We Were Here Together, and then the next one is going to be We Were Here Forever. And for those of you who haven't played it, the first one's free on Xbox on PlayStation and PC, maybe on Xbox as well. And they're really good kind of co-op puzzler games. They feel a little bit, they definitely capture the feeling of like an escape room. And I definitely enjoyed that feeling. So I played through the first one with my wife. It took us like 2 hours. So it was a really fun experience. It really left good vibes. I'm really looking forward to playing the other two, which were sold in a bundle, that I'm looking forward to playing. And then there's another one coming this year. So I think they've been on a pretty good cadence of releasing one a year for the last couple, or maybe one every 2 years for the last couple of years. Yeah, I'm recently joined the fan group, so I'm a fan, and I'm looking forward to We Were Here Forever coming sometime later this year. Apparently, more towards Q4 of this year. That's it. If that wasn't enough, let me know if you thought I forgot anything big that happened this weekend. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this content. If you do, follow, like, and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch so you can see more great content like this. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye!